Hello dear students, this is Mushtaq from MC Society Institute of Pharmacy Azam campus. Today we are going to learn about factors affecting drug action. As we have already learned in the previous lecture about some of the factors affecting drug action. So outcome, the students will be able to state the various factors affecting the drug action. The students will be able to explain the various factors affecting drug action. So for deep study of various factors modifying drug action is to be made to decide proper desired drug effects with optimal dosage of drugs. The important factors which influence the effect of drug are body weight, age, sex, route of administration, time of administration, climate, genetic factor, emotional factor, presence of disease, metabolic disturbance, accumulation, other drug therapy, additive effect, synergism, antagonism, drug tolerance and drug dependence. In the previous lecture we have already completed 14 factors which affects the drug action, and further we will continue today. Next factor is antagonism. When two or more drugs are administered togetherly, act on a same physiological system and tries to oppose each other's pharmacological action, this phenomenon is called antagonism. Simply we can say opposite action of two drugs on the same physiological system is called as antagonism, and the agent which opposes the action is called as antagonist. Next, types of antagonisms. We have four types of antagonisms: chemical antagonism, competitive or reversible antagonism, non-competitive or irreversible antagonism, and the last, physiological antagonism. First we will see chemical antagonism. In case of chemical antagonism, biological effect of a drug is totally abolished or reduced by chemical reaction with another drug. Example is acid and alkali reacts with each other to neutralize each other. Next, British anti-levacital is used as antidote in arsenic poisoning. Ball reacts chemically with arsenic. So it is chemical antagonism. By chemical reaction they will oppose each other's action. Next is competitive reversible antagonism. In case of reversible competitive antagonism, agonist and antagonist will be compete for the same receptor, and it is totally dependent on the concentration of agonist and antagonist. This type of antagonisms can be overcome by effective increase in concentration of agonist at the receptor site. So there will be competition between agonist and antagonist for the same receptors, which attaches to that receptor it shows an action. So there is a competitive, and these agonists and antagonists may have different actions, that is opposite actions. That's why we call it as antagonism. Example is acetylcholine, atropine compete each other at receptor sites. If we increase the concentration of acetylcholine, the blockage produced by atropine can be overcome, and vice versa. Hence we call it as reversible antagonism. Next is non-competitive or irreversible antagonism. In case of irreversible type of antagonisms, the antagonist inactivates the receptor by some mechanism in such a way that effective complex with the agonist is not possible. Hence, if we increase the concentration of agonist at the receptor site, the receptor is inactive to produce any combination with the agonist. So hence we called it as irreversible antagonism. Examples of this type is the blockade produced by alpha adrenergic receptor blockers, that is phenoxybenzamine, cannot be overcome by alpha agonist non-adrenaline. So there will be opposite action, but in such a way that there will not be replaces it. And the last, physiological antagonism. In this case, two drugs produce opposite effects by acting through different receptors. So one drug will act on one receptor and second drug will act on another receptor, but the action will be opposite. For example, the bronchoconstriction produced by histamine release in anaphylactic shock can be antagonized by adrenaline. Here Histamine causes bronchoconstriction, adrenaline causes bronchodilation. This is exact opposite action, but these two drugs act on different receptors. Histamine acts on historeceptors like H1, and adrenaline acts on adrenoreceptors like beta receptors. So there are two different receptors, but the action is opposite. So hence there are four types of antagonism: chemical antagonism, reversible antagonism, irreversible antagonism, and physiological antagonism. Next is drug tolerance. On repeated administration of some drug, they may prove ineffective at usual therapeutic dose. So we have to progressively increase the dose to produce the desired effect. This phenomenon is called drug tolerance. What happens? The drug will slowly start tolerating by the body and will not get the desired pharmacological action. So we have to get the desired action, we have to increase the drug slowly. So when this type of phenomenon has been occurred, we simply call it as that there is a tolerance of drug by the body. So types of drug tolerance, basically there are three types of tolerance: root tolerance, pseudo tolerance, and tachyphylaxis. Again, this true tolerance has been classified into two types: natural tolerance and acquired tolerance. This natural tolerance has again two subtypes: species tolerance, second is racial tolerance. Then acquired tolerance has two types: tissue tolerance and cross tolerance. True tolerance, it is observed with both oral and parental route of drug administration, and this has two types: natural tolerance. This natural tolerance exists from birth and results in difference between species and races. So species tolerance, certain animal species can tolerate large amount of particular drugs which may be proved too lethal to man. For example, rabbit can tolerate a large amount of atropine. Also, strychnine is large quantities tolerated by invertebrates. If you take these drugs in large quantity, it may prove fatal in or lethal effect in man. So the drug is tolerated in animals but not in mans. So that is the natural tolerance. Next is racial tolerance. It is observed that when ephedrine is instilled in the conjunctival sacs of Asian people, they produce prompt dilation of pupil. On the other hand, Negroes shows no effect. So we have two tolerance. It is racial tolerance, in which a particular community can tolerate the drug but another community will not able to tolerate it. Acquired tolerance, this is acquired when we repeatedly administer certain drugs. It produces a tendency to tolerate that particular drug. This known is acquired tolerance. Commonly seen acquired tolerance is observed in barbiturates, opioid, and xanthine therapies. Again, this acquired tolerance has two types: tissue tolerance. In case of tissue tolerance, tolerance is developed to certain effects of drug. For example, morphine is able to produce tolerance to its euphoriant effect, but the people and gastrointestinal tract never becomes tolerant. So we can see a particular tissue can get tolerated by the drug and the other tissue will not become tolerance. So this is called tissue tolerance. Next is cross tolerance. What happens in cross tolerance? When an individual develops tolerance to a drug belonging to a particular class, he also shows tolerance to other drugs belonging to the same class, and it has also not taken the drug, but also it shows tolerance to the other drugs belonging to the same group. This phenomenon is called as cross tolerance. For example, tolerance to vasodilation effect of glyceryl trinitrate is an individual shows tolerance to pentaaryl tritol trinitrate from the same group. Hence, so the patient has given a particular drug, it shows tolerance, and if the same another drug of the same class, if we give it, it will not show tolerance, and also it has not taken the drug even though he has not taken the drug. So this is called cross tolerance. Next is pseudo tolerance, means false tolerance. This is observed only with the oral route of administration. What happens in olden days, when we take a small dose of poison is taken orally, then the tolerance to it will be developed by the GI tract. This is possible after repeated administration of small quantities of poison by oral route, as the individual becomes immune to such poison. Usually it was followed by the kings in olden days to prevent themselves poisoned by some other people. But after this, if some other route of administration is chosen, then poisoning will occur. Like if you have given the drug in IV route, there will be poison, but if you taken the same drug with oral route, it will show tolerance. For the reason behind that is poor absorption of drugs or poisons from GI tracts, as in case of chronic alcoholism, in whom the intestinal mucosa is thickened, affecting the absorption of alcohol, is possible reason behind development of tolerance. Next is tachyphylaxis, which is also called acute tolerance. This tolerance will shown for a particular small duration. It's also called as acute tolerance. It is observed that certain drugs, when administered repeatedly at very short interval of time, the pharmacological response to that particular drug decreases, and this is for short period, known as tachyphylaxis. Example is repeated administration of ephedrine in the treatment of asthma may produce diminishing response to it at a particular that time only. Why this happens? Because drug disappears very slowly from its combination with the receptors, resulting in continuous receptor blockage. Hence, the next dose of drug does not have effect to react, or does not have receptors to react, resulting in reduced effect of drug. So differences between tolerance and tachyphylaxis: it develops slowly, it develops rapidly. Large dose is required to develop tolerance. Large dose is not required to develop tachyphylaxis because it is independent of dose. It occurs due to increased drug metabolism. It occurs due to blockage of receptors. In this phenomenon, original effect may obtain by increasing dose of the drug. Here, original effect may not be obtained by increasing dose. Example here is barbiturates, morphine, and for tachyphylaxis examples are ephedrine, nicotine, and triamine. Next is drug dependence. As the name indicates, the person or the patient will depend on the particular drug. Why? Because of repeated administration of certain drugs may induce a habit and dependence. According to WHO, a state of psychic and also sometimes physical resulting from the interaction between the living organism, the drug showing behavioral and other responses that always include compulsion to take drug in order to experience its psychic effect or to avoid discomfort. So, in this, on repeated administration, the person has become dependent on the drug. So, he needs a drug for any cost, either to experience its psychic effect or to avoid discomfort. Tolerance may or may not be produced, and also a person may be dependent on one or more drugs. Thus, for when administration of such drugs is discontinued, the unpleasant symptoms known as withdrawal symptoms occur, such as psychological upset, headache, convulsions, even vasomotor collapse. So, these symptoms disappear on re-administrating the drug. The exact mechanism of drug dependence is not known, but change in cellular metabolism of CNS is an important factor in development of drug dependence. Next, types of drug dependence. There are two types of drug dependence: physical dependence and psychological dependence. In physical dependence, the body achieves adaptive stage to drugs. If the drug is withdrawn, intense physical dependence occurs and it shows physical symptoms. In psychological dependence, it is a condition in which the drug produces satisfaction and psychic drive that requires periodic or continuous administration of the drug to produce pleasure or to avoid discomfort. So, here the patient will be physiological dependent. So, there is some difference between drug addiction and habituation. what we have learned today. So we have learned the factors affecting like antagonism, drug tolerance, and drug dependence. Thank you.